Welcome back to another exciting segment of the Late Night Show with Dr. Kojo. I'm your host, Dr. Kojo, checking in from the Carolinas, checking in from my mama's house. We're not in LA tonight, which is why, well, it's not why we're late. I'm late because I'm late, but it's a different setup. So I had to get my setup set up, but we're here, we're vibing, we're having a good time. Uh, I'm 9 minutes late, like I've said for the third time in this live stream. But I have a commonly requested topic that you all have wanted me to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. I'm very excited to get going. My laptop is to the right and the camera's here. So it's going to be interesting, to figure out which way I'm looking. But I'm excited to get going. And yeah, we're going to be talking about four potential missed signs of autism in women. So, four potential missed signs of autism in women. I hope I got the title right. What I'm trying to say is these are potential signs that are missed a lot of times. And women have to wait until their late 20s, 30s, sometimes 40s and 50s to get diagnosis because somebody wasn't able to catch these signs. So that's what I'm talking about. But before we get started, go ahead and use the comment section to let me know where you're checking in from. Let me know your name. Your name should pop up if you're watching on Facebook. But let me know where you're checking in from and also your name if it doesn't already show up. So let's get into it. I'm excited. We're streaming on Facebook, of course. We're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on LinkedIn. That's cool that we can go on LinkedIn. We're streaming on TikTok, of course, and also YouTube. So I'm excited to have my whole community with me tonight. Purple Heart, we're doing good. Sandra from Sweden on TikTok. Sandra, how are you doing? Markin from Kentucky. Michaela from Louisiana. Michaela, what's going on? Good to see you again. What's up? How you doing? Victoria from Atlanta. Victoria, how are you doing? Let me see my people on. All right, so we got the OGs. We got Austin from Missouri. Austin, how are we doing? We got Emily. Emily, how are we doing? Emily's from the Midwest. I forget. I blanked out. But Emily's the OG over here. We have strep throat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Double vision. Lisa from Canada. Lisa, what's up? Leilani is checking in from Tennessee. Leilani is one of our moderators. So it's good to have Leilani on here. We have Nicole from Colorado. Nicole from Colorado, how are you doing? I'm probably going to move the computer so that way it's not like this because I don't like having to shift like I'm doing a dance. So we don't need to charge it. Computer is charged. We are good to go. There we go. Sarah, yes. And also, I just want to give Sarah, I can't say Sarah for the reason. I want to give Sarah a big shout out for coming to my comedy show. When was it? Last week, Thursday, for making the drive out. I really appreciate that. When you came with my first book, that really made my night. So thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate you. And do we have Kendra in here too? Emily from Iowa. Okay. I knew that. Tina from Baton Rouge. Okay. Let me see. Michaela's getting registered for classes. All right. That's what's Michaela. That's what's up. All right. So we have four potential missed signs of autism in women. And you have to understand that these signs, so I made videos like this before, and people have said things like, can't you say the same thing about autism in boys or teenage boys? Yes, you can. The difference is that a lot of times with women, because we expect certain things out of little girls and teenage women and young adult women. So sometimes if we expect certain things out of women and, let's say she's shy and she's autistic, but she's undiagnosed, nobody's going to be checking for her to get diagnosis because she's probably masking and she's learned how to, fit into today's society, or she's learned how to fit into society, whether it was when she was growing up or whether it's today. And the masking delays an accurate diagnosis. So that's one of the main reasons why women can't get diagnosis in time. And sometimes they have to have kids first. And then after the kids get assessed, then they're like, Well, I have 3 kids, and 2 of them have autism, and then the other one has ADHD. I think I have to go into a doctor and get checked out, so on and so forth. I've seen that a lot. That's kind of how um, many people's stories have been. So that's why we have to like break it down, like what it looks like for women, what it looks like for guys. Same thing for ADHD. So when you're neurodivergent, sometimes you just know, but unfortunately, some people have to wait years and years and years for an accurate diagnosis. Oh, it's a different Kendra? Ah, okay, it's a different Kendra. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Well, Austin, I appreciate you for spreading the word. Joe Peace from Atlanta, Raquel from New York, SJ from Perth, Australia. What's up? What's up? What's up? And Leilani, if you can't make it through the live stream, I appreciate you. We are late. I know it's like what? It's almost 10 o'clock in Tennessee. So I appreciate you. But as always, the live stream will be available for future consumption. So let me get into the first potential missed sign of autism in women. Well, why is it so hard to get diagnosis? Let's talk about that for to kick things off. It's really hard to get diagnosis because people don't know these signs I'm about to list off. The number two, when you do have a feeling that you might be on the spectrum, so on and so forth, to go get the proper help, it can be very expensive, and you have to find somebody in your area who can assess you, and then the path to be checked out for autism, same thing with ADHD, it's not as linear as I would like it to be. So it takes people sometimes ages to get an assessment. So if we can be more linear with, and that's a healthcare issue as well, but if you can cut out the steps, it can make it much easier for people to get the diagnosis in time. Oh, Leilani, got you, gotcha. Um, I know I'm on a spectrum based on how my brain works. So, Gabby, a lot of people know this, and there's a growing segment of people who are self-diagnosing, and they're like, okay, why should I pay $5,000 to go see a provider to tell me something that I already know? And I respect that because I know how expensive it can be. I always say that if you have an opportunity to, validate your diagnosis with a professional, to check it and see if you can do that, if possible. Australia in the house. Wow, Cassandra, thank you for your attention. Australia, it's a whole different day. I always watch lives, any lives I miss in the playback. I appreciate you, Leilani. Thank you so much. Oh, how I wish lives were a different time. I'm not usually up late. I'm asking. All right, well, I'm gonna. I've been thinking about doing the labs at an earlier time. I might flirt around with an earlier time. We may have to flirt around with something and see how the people respond to it. All right, so frequent meltdowns. Frequent meltdowns. This is one potential missed sign of autism in women. So let's say you have a girl and in grade school, she's always getting in trouble. She's having meltdowns, so on and so forth. The first thing that they're probably going to say is, "Oh, she's being, devious. She's a troublemaker, so on and so forth." A lot of times, they, you know, a girl still might not get checked out for medical attention. If anything, a girl that's having a lot of meltdowns, I can see her, being assessed for ADHD. Sometimes a teacher is able to pick up on that. Maybe the teachers had kids in their class last year who had ADHD, or maybe the teachers themselves they have ADHD, or they have kids themselves who have ADHD. But when you have to understand that when somebody who's autistic has a meltdown, the meltdown is going to look like, and for an adult it can look like, borderline personality disorder, or it can look like a mood disorder, but what it actually is a meltdown. And there's something that normally leads to this meltdown. A lot of times it's something from your external stimuli. So it could be a sensory overload. Maybe things are too loud, or maybe the way the metal, like, when the metal like scraps your teeth, the noise that it makes, or the way you feel, could just send you into a tizzy. That's what we call it here in the South. Or it could just send you into a spiral where that leads to you being irritable, and then because you're already irritable, the smallest thing can just kind of piss you off and just have you flying off the handle, and it can turn things south. So you have to understand that with frequent meltdowns, it's important to, I think for for elementary school teachers and for People who have young kids, even for boys, if a child is having a meltdown and it's in the same environment and it's happening around the same time of the day, then it's helpful to consider, okay, is this child, just misbehaving because they want attention, or is it because this is the time of the day when we're coming back from school and the car ride over is very noisy and you have the trains going and then super bright? Are the meltdowns happening around this time where you can connect the dots? Then you can start to get a little bit closer to what's actually going on. And someone says, does it look like anger? It does look like anger. It looks like anger. So, a lot of times, depending on, like in minority communities, they can just say, "Oh, she's just being a bad girl. She's just being disrespectful. Um, being disrespectful. We'll put her in timeout, and she can't go to cheerleading practice, or she can't go play violin, or whatever the case may be." Um, Gabby says, "I got in trouble for talking way too much, especially in middle school." Leilani, I agree. We have to get that show back. I like that show, and I have the banner for it. So yeah, we gotta get that show back. We definitely do. Laura says I was diagnosed with ADHD 2 years ago. 34 after taking meds. I think I unmasked autism symptoms. I'm now on the waiting list to be assessed for autism. All right, so Laura, this is something that I see a lot, and Michaela saying my best friend was diagnosed with autism at 24. She was relieved to finally understand herself. Right. That's why what we're doing is very important here. And I'm starting to see this trend a lot where it's people are getting the ADHD diagnosis, and once they get the proper help and the right meds, they start to become themselves a little bit more, aka unmasking, and that kind of that puts the autism in clear focus. Like you can actually see what's going on, or you can start to suspect and advocate for yourself because if you're 37 and you have ADHD and you're taking your meds and you feel like you're on the spectrum. Look, you've seen a lot of doctors at this point, and nobody's been able to pick up on it. So now that you're having these suspicions, you can articulate yourself better, and then you can advocate for yourself better. Let me see. I feel like I've masked my whole life is stressful. Uh, Zephyrina, what a name. That's a nice name. Zephyrina. Sounds like it's South African or something. But yeah, no, it's stressful to mask your whole life because you get to a point where you're like, all right, I want to see who I actually am, and then you have to ask yourself, like, who am I? Like who actually am I? And that's frustrating when you're 41 and you're having to figure this out. Amber from Wichita, Kansas. Amber, how are you doing? How are you doing? Meds changed my life. Same here. Meds changed my life as well. That's why I always tell people, hey, if you have the chance to, get a diagnosis and then the subsequent help in the form of meds or therapy, it can be a game changer. I was diagnosed neurodivergent, basically adult late diagnosis in my 50s. I spent my entire life unable to form attachments with people. I can tell you what meltdown looks like. Yep. Yep. And a lot of times it's painful when you're having a meltdown and you're 49 and you're like, hold up, I used to do the same thing when I was 12, right? And that's like what a 30, 40 year gap. And we're finally putting, connecting the dots together. Alexis from Texas. Loud noise is excruciating, worse than any physical pain ever. Right. And this can lead to a meltdown and it can look like somebody just angry, but there's a clear reason behind the anger. Kate from New York, what's going on? I had a meltdown last Friday. There was a lot going on. It just built up. I couldn't hold it in and stepped out and had a good little cry on my porch by myself in the morning. And that's the cool thing about understanding yourself as an adult, because if you know what's going on and you're grown, like Leilani, grown for lack of a better term, right? An adult, then you can understand, okay, I'm frustrated because of X, Y, and Z. That's fine. I'm not dumb. I'm not stupid. I'm just having a tough day. Let me go on the porch and cry. Let me go on let me go punch some pillows or something. I was gonna say punch the wall, but I don't want you to actually punch the wall and hurt yourself. Um, but finding a way to, you know, self-soothe without hurting yourself. Candace, how are you doing? Libby. That's a good one too. Especially, let's say it's a teenage girl, And this is got me thinking right here. You got me thinking right here because when women start having their period, um, and you're angry, I think a quick go to is like, oh, it's just PMS, or she just on her, she's on her cycle, or after she's done, she's gonna be better. But if the anger is coming from a meltdown, I can see how people would never catch that. Like how can you catch that? Like I think I'm good at what I do, but how would I catch that? If like mom comes in, oh, my daughter is 16 and she's been angry every time after soccer practice, and she wants to fight everybody, and it's around the time that her cycle is, like you're not gonna think, sensory meltdown. So um anybody can really miss this. What do you know about the connection of ADHD? Oh, yeah, so we've spoken about that a little bit. uh I believe that a lot of times people get diagnosed with ADHD first. I used to cry my pillow as a kid, so I didn't wake up anyone. Now we're grown. Now you can cry as loud as you want. You know, not as loud as you want, but you can be expressive with it. Diagnosed ADD in the early '90s, but they missed a key component. That key component of ASD was diagnosed at 38. So this is what I was saying earlier in the live stream, and Tracy is further backing this up. The ADHD, or they called it ADD back in the '90s, was caught first, and then the autism was caught after that. That's normally how I see it. Let me look on TikTok. Someone says, "Can you be misdiagnosed with depression?" Yes, and we do see that a lot. Kathy saying, "Doors closing loudly sends me. I could jump out of a window." Ooh, well, Kathy, let's find something else to jump out of. But I get you. I get you. You put the laughing emojis behind that. Can Wellbutrin and Vyvanse be taken together for ADHD? Sometimes, I've seen some providers do that. Normally, it's one or the other, especially if you're prescribing them for the same thing. But maybe the Wellbutrin is to help the person stop smoking, and the Vyvanse is for ADHD, or maybe the Wellbutrin is for, anxiety, or a couple of different things. Let's see, Jenny said, "I've learned to celebrate my small wins and not focusing on what I didn't win that day." Yee! Yeah, love the show right there. It's difficult, but like we have to remind ourselves to celebrate the small wins. I forgot to take my Prozac for 2 weeks, and I'm hella agitated. I'm living in my headphones. Yeah, and that's why it's not a good idea to stop your meds. Libby forgot in this case, but between the brain zaps and between the mood irritability, hopefully you got Eminem's new album in your headphones so you can decompress. I haven't heard it yet. I hope it's good, but I know he dropped a new album. 8 years clean and sober for me on the 14th. Congratulations, Austin. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. They keep trying to diagnose me as bipolar. Yeah, and that's why. I mean, look, when you're screening somebody for bipolar, we use this thing called a mood disorder questionnaire. Um, and to my knowledge, on that MDQ, there's nothing that accounts for the potential of a sensory meltdown due to autism. So that's how people can get a diagnosis wrong. But Austin, congratulations, congrats. I hate when people touch my stuff because it pisses me off. And I see kids struggle with this a lot. Gabby, I'm not sure how old you are, but when kids are like, they go to school and they tell their parents, "Hey, like I'm gonna clean my room when I come back. I'm gonna clean my room when I come back. Just leave my stuff." And you come back and your parents have like cleaned your room and rearranged everything. That can cause a meltdown. And I'm not saying that means that the child's autistic, but that's something that can it can piss you off, right? It can piss anybody off. Um, and Kathy says, "Was it Libby who was having surgery?" Yes, it was. And Libby's still here in the live stream, so Libby can speak for herself. But I'm very happy to have Libby back on the live stream. Katie's saying things I never thought were ADHD turned out to be ADHD. Yep. And that's why when you finally figure out what it is, you have that aha moment, like, aha. See, I'm 34 and I'm the same way. Gabby, don't don't touch my stuff ever. Right. I mean, I'm 31, and touching my stuff is frustrating. All right. Now, number two, another potential missed sign of autism in women: having a hard time describing your feelings. So, having a hard time describing your feelings. Now, this is something that I think you gotta explain a little bit more, because anybody can say, "Oh, any kid can struggle to explain their feelings." Like, kids don't always know what they're feeling. That's true, but a lot of times with neurodivergent individuals, I feel like there's a delayed reaction when it comes to like processing your emotions. So if you ask somebody who's neurodivergent, or let's just take autism to make it a little bit simpler, if you ask an autistic person how they feel like right after something happens, what they tell you might not be an accurate indicator of how they actually feel, because they're before they can figure out, in my opinion, this is how I think it goes. Before they can figure out how they feel, you have to figure out like what's an expected reaction to this situation. Like, what would uh neurotypical, a normal person do um uh in this situation, because you know that, okay, I'm a little bit different, I communicate with the world a little bit differently from other people, so I am gonna figure out how I feel, but like, what would like a neurotypical person feel in this situation? And then before you can get to your actual thoughts, you filter. Like, your brain is just doing so much work. That's why it's so easy to be burnt out, because your brain's doing all this work and trying to figure out what's my actual true thought. Like what do I actually feel? Like, how do I feel in this situation? Do I like the situation? Do I not like it? And then you might be frustrated that you don't know why you're feeling what you're feeling, or you might be frustrated that you don't know why you don't know exactly what you're feeling. If that makes sense. I hope I'm not going in circles. I feel like this is one of those things that if you get it, you get it, and if you don't, I might be spinning in circles. Um, oh man, it's so hard to describe when you're feeling every emotion in the moment to tell someone exactly. Right, right, and I think it's healthy not just for autistic people, but for anybody to understand that, all right, I don't know how I feel in this moment, and I might need some time to just figure out like what I feel and how I feel. I'm a little bit thirsty, so the water break is in 7 minutes. I just had to sneak in a little bit of water there. Amber saying, bingo, although I feel I've gotten better about that, mental health improvement is one of my special interests. I gotta try and help myself since I can't go to a professional at the moment. Right. And Amber, I like what you added at the end, because even though like when y'all ask me certain questions, I say, oh, the answer is to find a professional. I say that, but I understand that for the majority of people who are watching this live stream, whether it's on Facebook or on TikTok, for them to find a professional like tomorrow or this week or next week, it's not practical, even though like that's the answer. So learning how to cope it and manage it and get yourself through this interim period is going to be key. I feel too much was a common phrase of mine growing up. I can't tell how others are feeling, let alone how I feel. Right. And Jane, this can be very frustrating, because if you don't know what other people are feeling, then that's going to drain more of your energy and your battery. Because everybody, all of us, like we all try and figure out how people are feeling a little bit, right? Even, sometimes we'll say, oh, we don't care about, anything. Yeah, you should do your best to not care about other people's opinions and thoughts, and um, but we all want to kind of gauge like what's the general consensus, like how do we feel about this thing in general, and when you can't figure out like what the acceptable feeling of a certain thing is, then you're going to try and make sense of that, all the while delaying how you actually feel about that situation. And you might just say that you feel a certain way about something because you feel like you're expected to say that, but that's not what you believe. Description of feelings is hard. I always use abstract ways to say it. Let me see. I'm too sensitive or emotional growing up. I never responded how my parents and siblings expected me to, and always being called weird from a young age. It takes time for me to process. Right. And that can be very frustrating, because Andrew, you're probably trying to express how you feel in the most authentic way. Like that probably is actually who you are. But then over time you learn that okay, people normally tell other people how they feel much quicker. So I have to learn how to say something much quicker, even if it's not what I actually feel. So, sometimes I feel like with the autistic way of communicating, you probably had things right from the jump. But along the way, society, has programmed us to like, to do certain things to fit in. And if you can't do that, then they call you weird. But in all actuality, if somebody is actually weird, wouldn't it be the person who does what everybody else expects of them? Right? I mean, that's what I think. Um, Also, much more helpful if I can write them down. But describing feelings during conflict feels almost impossible. Feels impossible. Right. Because you still need time to process that thing. And I think it's actually healthy to take time to process something. And that way when you speak up, you speak out, people can believe that okay, what this person is saying, they actually mean that. So like the autistic way of communicating is it's actually probably right. But yeah, I think the autistic way of communicating and processing things is probably the right way, but socially, you're gonna pay a price for it because all of us have like learned, how to just like, go along with everything. Injustices trigger me so badly. I have to work so hard to not explode, especially when people do cruel things or support things that harm others. It's so hard. Struggle to explain to people why I just can't turn that off. People will tell me to just ignore it or move on, and I can't. I'm stuck on loop. And Laura, this is something that it's not a criteria for autism, right? But you do see a strong sense of justice, because right is right and wrong is wrong, and it's just that simple. But some things are more nuanced. But a lot of times, because in my opinion, I feel like the autistic way of communicating is very literal. So if something is wrong, and we have evidence that is wrong, that is wrong, is wrong. So somebody coming behind and justifying and saying, "Well, I think if like you want to hear, you don't want to hear that because in your mind is wrong, and you have evidence that supports the fact that is wrong, and you have cold hard facts. So even when it's a nuanced thing, it's hard for somebody to come and try and convince you otherwise. I'm way too literal always. Yeah, and this is something that I think I didn't include being too literal as a sign, but now that I think about it, I wish I would have included it because it's like when you're young, like if you're 11-year-old girl and you take things literally, it's oh she's a young girl, how parents are, how teachers are. Oh, Sally's just yeah, she's 11. But then at 21, she's taking things literally. Ah, she's just emotional. She just had her first real college boyfriend. She's going through a breakup. That's 21. At 31, she's just going through, a divorce or, she's just having a hard time, right? At 41, she's just having a midlife crisis. At 51, she's just upset because the kids are leaving the house. And at some point, you're like, hold up, maybe she was just autistic this whole time, right? Maybe, maybe. And Amber, I think it's hard, especially when we as adults are trying to process this ourselves. I'm very literal. I don't understand sarcasm. I take it at face value. Right. So sarcasm and autism sometimes don't mix well together. Uh yeah. Those two can be very yeah, they don't go together like peanut butter and jelly. Now that doesn't mean that you can't ever be sarcastic with an autistic person, but a lot of times if you're sarcastic with an autistic person and they don't take offense to it or they understand what you're talking about, a lot of times the nature of the relationship you have with that person is the reason why they're able to understand your sarcasm. Like you already have context there. But if you came as a stranger and they were a stranger to you and you said something and it was sarcastic, they probably wouldn't get it. They could, but there's a good chance that they probably might not get it. Let me see what TikTok is talking about. Um, I got held back in grade school because I didn't have an imagination. Okay, sorry to hear that. Um, moving across the country as somebody who's neurodivergent, Seth, I would say look to find a system. Like live your life in systems. Like I live my life in systems, and when one thing is off, it really frustrates me. Um, I'm not a mind reader, so I never pick up on hints or what I'm expected to read between the lines. Right. So, Tracy, my first thought here is if you have a hard time reading between the lines, like how can you know if somebody's flirting with you? I think I made a video on this before, but how do you know if somebody's actually flirting with you or if they're just being nice? That's a neurodivergent struggle we gotta talk about because it's very awkward when you get it twisted, right? Like let's say somebody's just being nice and you think they're flirting. So now you go and you shoot your shot. You like three of their Instagram photos. You like all their IG stories. Boom, boom, and then you come on to them and they're like, "Yo, chill. I was just being nice," and then you're like, "Oh, oh, okay, never mind. I take it back. I take it back. I'm unlike all the IG photos. I'm unlike all the stories. I was just kidding. I was just kidding." Or the opposite way around, where somebody's flirting with you and you don't you like you can't tell that they're flirting. So, you think that they're being nice. So you're like, okay, okay, the person's just being nice or whatever. And then the other person's like, yo, I liked four of their Instagram photos. I liked all their stories. I liked, their past three Facebook albums. How can't they tell that? I'm trying to talk to them. And you're like, I need somebody to like love bomb me so that way I'm sure. Because when you get a love bomb, it's like boom. Then you're really sure. Sometimes you're kind of sure, and other times you're like we know no, and that's unfortunately when we have to have that love bomb. Keep trying. We ran into the same problem. Tracy said, "I never think anyone is flirting with me." Well, Tracy, your whole life, somebody's flirted with you, but you probably weren't able to pick up on it. I never know if someone is flirting because I'm just being nice, and I think they are as well. Right. And look, sometimes you're like, okay, what? Think about all the missed romantic connections. I could have had. If I had understood this person was flirting with me. Sometimes like even for me, like if I missed, I saw somebody flirting with me, I'm like, dang it, like and she was bad too. Like I wanted to talk to her, but I didn't know, or I couldn't pick up on the signs. I've never been able to tell if people are flirting. I always assume that they're friendly, right? And if it's you rather err towards the side of caution than to be like, hey, you want to get out for lunch, and the person's like, nah, like I'm married. I was just being nice. You're like, okay, all right, my bad for asking, my bad for asking. Oh, Tracy, thank you very much. It is time to change the smoke detector battery. I just changed it last time I came home, and I heard it, and I bought some batteries, so I will change it. Tracy, thank you very much. I appreciate you, community. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Then I heard it too. I'm like, okay, I gotta change the battery. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Savage, what do you mean by this? Is this in relation to the flirting, or let me see? I'm autistic and a cis woman. I literally just got diagnosed this past March. I do not understand sarcasm unless it's super sarcastic. Mm. And understanding that about yourself is helpful, so that way you can liberate yourself of feeling bad when you don't get things. Let me see. Um, uh, water and battery break. Yeah, after the live stream, we'll do a battery break. I appreciate that. Yeah, somebody dropped the magic word in the chat. Drop the magic word in the chat, and then we can get the water break in. OMG, it's a flirting. I replayed the conversation with a friend, and they would say, "Laura, they were flirting with you," and I'd be like, "Oh, but they were just being nice, weren't they? How was that flirting? Please explain." Right, and unfortunately, when you're neurodivergent, like I outside of love bombing, I don't know a more obvious way um for to know that somebody likes you. Like I think the majority of us who are neurodivergent, we would all appreciate it if we lived in a world where people were like straightforward and they just cut to the chase. Instead of liking 7 of my IG photos, because I don't know if you like my mental health content or like if you're trying to meet up for coffee. Instead of liking everything, you could just be like, I like you. Do you like remember in second grade when you used to like write those notes? I like you, and it'd be 2 boxes, yes or no. And then I get the note from Amanda. I'm like, let me see how Amanda looks. Okay, I like Amanda too. I check yes. And then you know, y'all remember that? Y'all remember those days? Like no, and Libby, liking posts is passive. Actually, it is passive, but we all do it. Big cheers, y'all. Time for us to get some water in. Uh, the water break is something that we do as neurodivergent people because we're often underhydrated. So get some good water in, or whatever beverage of your choice. But for me, it's water or sparkling water. But this is regular water. So big cheers, y'all. Big cheers, everybody. I thought that water almost went down the wrong pipe. Give me some more water. Clearly, somebody is under dehydrated today. But yeah, liking photos is passive, Libby. You're right. You're right. You're right about that. Liquid IV, new flavor popsicle. Okay, I haven't had that one yet. I like all your content with me for coffee as a friend. See, Savage, that's very direct. That's very direct. I can understand that. Oh, Savage loves my content. Savage wants to meet up, and Savage wants to be my friend. That's very straightforward. All right? That's very Savage wants to be my friend. Very straightforward. It can be confusing. I've been accused of that in relationships also, and I'm literally just being nice. So I understand. Right. Sometimes we're on the other end of things where we're just being nice too. Oh, Christina, I used to love getting those notes. Ah, second grade was the best. Like, do you like me? Yes or no? And like, you look over and you see a baddie and she's smiling at you, and then you just, you check like sometimes I miss me and the guys were talking about this the other day. We're like, we miss when like, holding hands with a girl is like a big thing. Like you hold her hand, you like, you know, like when we're kids. And now, you know, on a first date, like we'll be doing like God knows whatever. Um, and someone on TikTok says, "You're pouring bottled water into your reusable water container. Doesn't that defeat the purpose of probably?" But I got ice in there, so it makes the water colder, a little bit colder. Do you want? And look, Libby, this is also direct. You want to get drink and friends with benefits. That is as straightforward as that's so straightforward. But you almost never see. Libby, I know you mean what you say, but you almost never see this, um, because people who want friends with benefits almost always get with people who want like exclusive relationships, and then you have that tug of war. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, yeah, Libby is direct. Libby is direct. Libby is probably the most direct person here. So Libby is that's why she's the leader of this community. Thank you. I finished the smoothie I made earlier. Yeah, smoothies can count as the water break too. Let me see. Oh yeah, yeah. We got 2 more signs. Don't worry, we got 2 more signs. The first sign was frequent meltdowns. Number 2 was having a hard time describing feelings. Number 3 is um, only right. You gotta be honest. I could. I agree with being honest. And see, that's why I like we're gonna like I'm not sure what my next big project is in Hollywood, but something needs to be said about neurodivergent relationships. Because I'm like, why did my one relationship with my autistic ex-girlfriend, of course, is a joke I posted on TikTok, but that relationship was I almost had no headaches. I almost had no headaches with her. And it was autism. Sometimes girls will come up to guys and they'll say, like, what were you thinking when you did that? Like, what was on your mind? Nothing. Nothing was in my mind. She went, okay, nothing. Cool. She understands that I'm just a man. I'm a smart guy, but sometimes there's nothing in this head, and it's just nothing. Why are you upset today? I'm just tired. Okay. Everything was literal and direct. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, is this girl from Mars? Like, what's going on? Uh, that's how I ended up married with two kids. Right. And look, sometimes you might end up start off in a friends with benefit situation, but because y'all are both direct, you're like, hold up, we are able to communicate. Communication is huge. That's why autism is hard for people because you communicate differently from how other people communicate. It's not because of your condition. Autism is not like a disease that means that you can't have a good quality of life. No, you can have a great quality of life. The only issue is that the other people, like they can't understand you because you communicate in a different way. Neither one is wrong, neither one is right, but you just communicate differently. Read your super chat. What was super chat? Are there stages on autism and aging yet? So Jane, can you be a bit more specific? Aging in terms of like like be a bit more specific. I do know that there are some studies like looking into the cause of autism. I've seen a link. Now I can't say that, you know, being a man older in age and having kids causes autism. But I have seen some correlation between males who have kids later in life and their kids being autistic. Correlation doesn't equal causation, but I've seen some studies there. And also, my ex who was autistic, her dad was um, like fairly old when he had her. But that's just my anecdotal experience. But you could be a bit more specific if you had a different like take on that question. Libby, I agree. Sometimes just benefits. Just to Mickey Ficky, just or just a Ficky with no, just a Ficky with no Mickey. Just a Ficky with no Mickey. That's hilarious. That's funny. That's funny. Just a Ficky with no Mickey. Yes, we will be able to rewatch this. I leave all the live streams on Facebook. The only time I'll ever delete it is if like somebody came on the live stream and they didn't want to be on. Then I'll just take it down, for them. Um, I, Savage, let me know. Email me. I could see myself marrying a friends with benefit. I really could, especially me being so avoidant. Anytime I told a guy I wanted, wow, wow. I actually have heard situations like this before. Because most times people say, "Oh, guys never want relationships." I think guys want relationships. I think guys want relationships, but um, I don't think the majority of guys will turn down their friends with benefits. But some would, some would. You never know. You never know. You never know. Honesty is the best policy. Oh, does it get worse? Oh, so Jane. So here's the thing with autism and aging. I don't think it gets worse. Okay, but let me give you my take. I don't think it gets worse. I think it's better when you have people who understand you. So like I ask myself sometimes like I've been doing content creation for 5 years now. Like a lot of times we do the same things. Why haven't I been burnt out with content creation? And it's because of you. It's because of you all. It's because of the people. Like you all understand me. Like there have been times in my life where like there have been times in my life where I'm talking to a girl and she's like, "You act like I don't understand you." And I'm like, "You don't." And I'll tell her, I said, "My people online understand me. You don't understand me. You need to read a book about ADHD or something like that to understand me because you just don't get it." So when you live in a world where people don't get you and you're autistic and you communicate differently from everybody else, you're gonna get burnt out. You're gonna have to mask to fit in. It's gonna just drain you and drain you and drain you. And at some point, you're like, all right, this is just too much for me. And then you start to like isolate. And then you isolate for too long, and guess what happens? Skill regression. I don't think I need to make some videos about skill regression because I can't think of too many videos I made about that topic. But that's a real thing. Skill regression, where you pop back out and you're like, hold up, I forgot how to talk to people. Like everything that you learned when you were masking, you forgot it. Everything that you learned to assimilate into society and culture, you forgot. So now I was like, I feel like I'm awkward around people. I don't know how to make eye contact, or sometimes even talking becomes harder. And it doesn't mean that like you're not cognitively slower, but like talking has become harder because you're starting to regress, and that can do a number to your self-esteem. But I don't think it's as you get older, autism gets worse. But I think that it's more so of not having your people around you, because neurotypical people have their people around them all the time, but you don't have your people around you. So that can be very frustrating. Zoe, come here, Zoe. Zoe, come here. Come here, baby. I haven't seen you in a minute. Zoe, come on. Come here, Zoe. That's my girl Zoe. I got to take this Carolina baby back to LA with me. Christina says, I went on one date with my husband, and the next day we both asked each other to be exclusive 3 days later. We moved in together at 6 months, engaged after 11 months, married 1.5 years. Or was it 11 years? First kid, 2 years, and second and 3 years. He has ADHD too. So, Christina, these are the relationships that I love. Like, let's just be obsessed with each other really quickly. And, and then let's just live life. I love this. Love her to show for this. For Christina and her husband. Zoe, relax in the bed. The chat hasn't seen you for a long time, Shasti. Aw, Shasti, I love Zoe. All right, okay. Let me make sure that this battery doesn't die. Gotta put this camera right here. Oh, hey, Ams. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, Zoe is back. I'm at home, so Zoe is back. Zoe Shicey is back. My live stream. I'm on live right now. Are you good? Tracy says, you nailed it. Due to the pandemic. Oh, I forgot about the pandemic. I forgot how to people. Since then, I've just isolated a bit more. Hey, can you take it out? Yeah, so I think the pandemic made a lot of people kind of be more reclusive, but definitely if you're already having a hard time fitting in, I think it made things a little bit worse. Oh, Jane, that makes sense? That answer your question? Okay, awesome. So those are my thoughts. I haven't seen any studies on it, but that's what I'm thinking. Let me see what TikTok is saying. Lisa, yeah, I am in the US. Oh, Zoe. Why is Zoe doing that? I kid you not. Say 10 years. I would argue that the criteria could be a little bit different in 10 years from now. Shasti, Zoe is back. Yeah. Miss Zoe. My friend circle has gotten a lot smaller. I've seen this too with a lot of people. Um, yeah, and it's also part of the unmasking process. Like when you become yourself, and then like you really become yourself, and it becomes a bit easier to figure out like who was your friend because they wanted to be your friend, or who was just kind of there to get something from you. And that normally leads to like a smaller circle. I turned 30 this year. I feel like it's gotten worse over the last few years, but I also don't know if it's because I've dropped my mask a bit. So, what's this? Oh, where was this charger? Make sure this thing don't die on me. This right here, I have a comment about this. I think that's why these forums are important because look, wherever like Leilani, for example, in Tennessee. All right, so she's in Tennessee. I'm in Georgia, Libby in Washington. Uh, where else are people at? Austin, Missouri. People in Florida. People in New York. So there are people out there who are having these shared experiences, but if they're not in your area, then you're gonna feel like, oh, I'm the only person going through this. You're gonna get burnt out, and the likelihood of you wanting to mask again is high. And if you do so, because masking is something that's done to survive, don't judge yourself. I'll just say that. Don't judge yourself because at the end of the day, we do want friends. So we do have to, sometimes go along just because we want friends. It's tough. Oh, Wisconsin. We got Wisconsin in the house too. Hawaii. As I've gotten older and burnt out, even my sensory sensitivity has gotten worse. Dana. Oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. The things that you could kind of shrug off now it's like that small clicking sound or like the sound of the fan. It just drives you up the wall. Ah, that's that. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. Friends, friends feel like a lot of work when they're not your people. Because even if they are your people, it's going to be work. Oklahoma, Oklahoma in the house, Pennsylvania in the house. Um, uh, can I add closed captions? Okay, I will ask. Well, actually, so for those of y'all who watch on Facebook, I think that Facebook automatically puts the closed captions there. Can somebody verify that? Because I watched an old stream on Facebook. I watched it on my phone, and I could see that it was closed captioning. Everything wasn't accurate because sometimes I make up words, but um, I want to say that Facebook will add it automatically. Love of truth tarot. It's like you have to find really meaningful, right? You have to find meaningful relationships, and another thing, you have to find uh, non-transactional relationships. That's key too, because without if you have too many transactional relationships, it just kills your soul, and that's just for all of us. Outcast is from South Philly. Go South. Sorry, you got questions. Sounds so. Lottie says she wants. I love. Lisa, I am in the USA. Lisa from TikTok. And Sarah on TikTok. Sarah, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. But yeah, the non-transactional relationships. So, all right, Jessica has captions on Facebook. All right, okay, all right. So Facebook has captions. YouTube doesn't have it at the moment. Okay, all right. So luckily Facebook has it. I'll look to see if what YouTube has because I'm not familiar with YouTube streaming options, but luckily Facebook has it though. Luckily, people can turn closed captions. So, Leilani, I have a question. Can you do that on YouTube or is it just for Facebook? Because on Facebook, I feel like you can turn it on or off, but for YouTube, I'm not sure if you can. And maybe you might not know because I know Facebook is your primary platform. Um, ooh, 1 second, M's. You straight? You good? You good? You good, twin? Just gotta get the camera back right. There we go. A little ghetto setup, but it work. Oh, YouTube too? Okay. Um, Sarai, is there such thing as ADHD? So Sarai, masking is something that can be done by anybody. So you can mask. Anybody can mask. It's not specific to any one or two conditions. But what the reason why neurodivergent people mask more is because if you don't do that, you can't fit in. Whereas the masking is optional for other people. So anybody can mask. Like anybody can. It's just a facade. Anybody can mask. It's just that they don't have to do it to survive. I think on YouTube, you can close. Oh, okay, all right. So Andy says YouTube, you can actually adjust it. So love of the show for Angie right there. Christina, it was nurse practitioner school for me, and it was a doctorate program, so it was just a year extra. And it was hard for me because, well, the first part was hard because I didn't have Adderall, and then the second part was a little bit easier. because I had Adderall. Ms. Lincoln, we'll have a topic about this specifically. And I made some videos about it, but we'll have a topic about um, RDHD specifically. Um, oh, Jessica is CCing. Okay. Ms. Lincoln says, "How do you know if you are masking?" All right, so there's a quick way to know. I'll tell you right now. So, wait, camera. All right, okay. A surefire way to know is like when you go out tomorrow, like wherever you are, just like observe like how you are and what you do. And then when you come home, let's say you're having a genuine conversation with somebody who knows you, that you're very comfortable around, like a sibling or a close friend, and look to see if the person that you are at home is the same person that you are like in public. And nobody is really the same that you are at home, uh, like in public. You know, like nobody's gonna be. Well, maybe Libby might be. Libby might be the same. So shout out to Libby. But for the most part, you know, like when you go to work, like you straighten out your tie, you talk more eloquently or professional. But masking is more so of like a clear deviation from like how you are. Like if somebody who knows you was around, they'd be like, "That's not Miss Lincoln," you know, like they'd be able to know. Libby's over here confused. No, the goal is to the goal is to become like Libby. This is a great example right here. So Jane actually answered the question better than I answered it. When you laugh and you don't find the joke funny, yeah. If you don't get the joke and you're laughing, yeah, that's not you. Yeah, that's a really good example right there. And Savage, yes. If Leilani is on the still on the stream, if she could put this down as a potential topic. I don't think we've ever done like non-stimulants specifically, or if so, I can't remember. Um, or we can do it again too. Um, I can't anytime, Jane. I can't wait to be able to get care for my ADHD. I'm always around my psych classes by hyper focusing. Well, at least you made it through. You gotta give yourself some credit for that. But it does become a little bit easier if you if you have some help in the form of medications when fitting in doesn't come naturally. I like that. I just feel absolutely wiped out after being social. I need my me minutes to feel good again. And this is as a need, not a want. It's a need. So once you understand this, then you know that you can't skip those moments by yourself where you get to recharge. Like you absolutely need those moments. South Philly, the neurospicy version of getting home and take it off your bra. Is that a thing for girls? One, I've heard that before. I don't know what the male equivalent is of taking your bra off. But I'm gonna think about that one. I want to find an equivalent. I don't think we have an equivalent of taking your bra off. Hopefully, some of the guys can weigh in and help me out. But I can't think of if we have an equivalent because we're a little bit different. Actually, Dana, taking your tie off. I will say that. I will say because even this tie right now, like this tie is not. This tie is loose. So in public, this tie would be like this, and it'd be up like that. So it'd be tighter. So if I loosen it, I guess I'm taking my bra off. So my bra is off. Yeah, tie that makes sense. I like that. I like that. Yeah, you're changing your sweatpants, kind of, but the tie analogy, I really like the tie one, so I give that one to Dana. I like that one. I like that one. Learning how to say no to people and being comfortable choosing myself has made a huge difference. Yeah, and sometimes when you do that for the first time, you're like, "Why didn't I think about this earlier?" Libby does mask or wear bra. A week. I probably masked early in my nursing jobs, but my dad's friend's a neurosurgeon and hired me, and I was just myself. Okay, all right. But Libby, I do have a question. Was there something that the neurosurgeon did? What was it about that environment that allowed you to be yourself, or it was more so of you made the switch yourself, or maybe there was something that that doctor did that like created an environment where people could tell the truth and actually like be who they are. Them wires be uncomfortable. Are there wires in bras? Is there wire in bras? Bras have wires. Okay. Uh, I think I knew that, but I forgot. If I'm taking off somebody's bra, I ain't thinking about no wires. Hmm. Yeah, I can be myself on here. But look, I appreciate you. Wires, wires. Oh, okay. Wow. Women be go through a lot. Wires on your body all day. My goodness. So much respect for that. That's a lot. Wires, under wires. That's what I'm reading. Under wire. Wow. Okay. I have so much respect. Um. Uh. That's a plus of being a stay-at-home mom. Ditched the bra years ago. Ah. That's funny. PTSD from wireless. Are there wireless bras too? Oh my goodness! Wow, I'm learning so much. Underwire bras. Okay, wow. Now I'm gonna have that to just throw around. I can just throw it in the conversation, like, "Oh, those bras have underwires." Nothing could be off at you. Sometimes poke your ribs. Oh my, ugh, that's a sensory nightmare. Mickey Ficky. After 7 days without methylphenidate due to med shortage, started back today. Laura, congratulations. It's really hard to get these ADHD medications. I don't know how long the shortage will last, but it is. I can vouch for that personally. It's very difficult. You know, very very difficult. Very difficult. I take out the wires, stabbing wires. Hate wire bras. I'm today years old when I realized that there's wires, and I think I knew this. He joked around with me with that firm relationship. I learned a lot, but I guess it just came down to vibes. Vibes are important because some people, when you're around them, you just, you know, you just can't be yourself, or they'll make it for you to be yourself. Phoenix says more light, please. Yeah, Phoenix, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get more light on my setup. So back in LA, I have a big like light thingy, but even then, sometimes my lighting in LA needs to be better. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting like a light, like a little light thingy for my East Coast setup, and then when I'm at home, uh, I'm gonna maybe use this camera right here because this camera is much clearer and sharper. I like it. Yeah, neurosurgeons are a different breed. They're a different animal for sure. I know exactly what you mean by that. I know exactly what you mean by that. But vibes are super important. The things you never. I learned about underwires. Oh, I'm gonna use that line. I will use that line talking to somebody one day. Yeah, no, I'm blown away. The fact that it's called underwires. I never knew. Like this is. Thank you. That you should never have told me about this because now I'm always gonna refer to underwires. Underwires. The fourth potential missed sign is executive dysfunction, and the reason why I had this one listed is because I think that so going back to the example of like the 11-year-old girl in fifth grade, I think that if a girl in fifth grade is like struggling to get her work done and she's like all over the place and she starts something and then she can't finish it, um, the chances of her being like characterized as being ditzy is high. Like, oh, she's just all over the place. She just she'll get together, um, and if anything, they might send her in for ADHD um, assessment. But the people don't realize that the executive dysfunction, you can see that with a lot of different things. In fact, even when you're depressed, like your brain's a little bit slower and like your memory is a bit poor. but you can see executive dysfunction with ADHD. You can see with autism, and I feel like in autism it comes from your brain working so hard. Like you have to work overtime to like think of what people are thinking about you and uh like figure out like what is the acceptable response. Like your brain is chronically fatigued. So it's gonna make it more difficult for you to get things done, start something and see all the way through. And also you could have ADHD at the same time too. And if both of them are undiagnosed, then it's gonna take it's gonna take a good clinician to catch it, but also sometimes in 2024, you also need like an ability to articulate yourself and figure out what's going on so that you can, because you have to advocate for yourself too, because nobody um, is going to be as good of an advocate as you can be. So that's why when you go in and like you have a list of stuff that you've been going through, and you let your doctor know, it's helpful because you're probably going to forget when you get in front of them. But nobody can recall what's been going on as well as you can. So I think that's where these videos come in and they're helpful because it gets your brain going. You're like, hold up, okay, I think this is me. I think this, and you watch more, and you're like, okay, hold up, I've done like five of these things, like all five videos. I do all five of these things, and then your brain starts. You start to do more and more research. Italiana on TikTok, how are you doing? How are you doing? Let me click the new comments. Self advocacy, yeah, it's important because if you don't speak up for yourself, who is? Um, Still trying to figure out. Ah, Amy, I'm sorry to read that. And trauma can cause cognitive slowing too. Love of truth tarot. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yeah, people don't take it seriously. I need a halo light. Probably need me a halo light too. I gotta figure out the lighting situation. My brother called me when I was on live stream last week. He's like, "Hey, bro, you need to get you a light. You need to get you a light. Like, just put a light behind you." And the light goes in and out. And I don't know how cameras work, but I'll just get the light and it'll fix itself. This is why I homeschool my ADHD son. Ah, okay. Savage is laughing. So the lighting situation. So here, yeah, I don't know what my setup is gonna be when I'm on the East Coast. So I have to figure that out. But when I'm in California, is a very easy fix because I have like three or four lights there. I just have to put the light behind the camera, and then it should be good from there. Let me see. And also, I forgot to mention at the top of the stream, but uh, these live streams are a great way to get things done. So whether it's the playback or whether it's live, like it's a good time to like start folding your clothes or whatever thing you were putting off all day. You know, as long as it doesn't require you like listening to something or getting something done, you can kill two birds with one stone. Like have this playing, and then like you're washing the dishes. Putting the clothes from the washer into the dryer. You don't have to fold them, but if you put them from the washer to the dryer, then you can be like, "Oh, the past 40 minutes were productive because I took something from point A to point B, and I hit a button." And then if you want extra credit, you can fold it. Um, the LED strip lights. Probably. Let me see. Let me see what you said. No, I don't think I saw it. But next time Kwame comes to LA, I'm gonna see if he can install those for me because he does that really well, and that way the background can be like blue and the light. Yeah, so lighting, we're gonna work on lighting. Yeah, because this camera is like if I come close to it, the lighting fixes because it's auto something. I don't know what it's called, but it auto corrects. So when you come close, the lighting gets better. So that's my cheat code. I just come closer. Maybe I should just stay closer. And Sarai with the PDA, I think that the executive dysfunction is also a part of that because if you're like they go hand in hand. If you're having a hard time getting things done and people keep asking you to do more things, then It's going to lead to more and more frustration, and then we're going backwards. We're getting further and further from getting anything done. That would look awesome. I like that. I like that. And it's hard to be an adult. I perpetually feel like I'm 20. Thank God for my parents and my badger and friends. They all help me with everyday stuff. Right. And I think it's helpful to have a team of people who can help you. And it's really a system, honestly. Like anybody, what I mean, anybody, regardless of who you are and what's going on, needs a system. But it'd be optional for certain people. But for us, if any of this stuff you can, like relate to, a system is imperative. People to count on, people that you can talk to, um, people to give you grace, people who can understand you. All that's a part of the system. Let me see. Watching your show makes everything makes sense after sensory overload. Right, and I don't know how we got the water break going. Maybe somebody TikTok says looking like the main villain from the Chai. That's hilarious. Or the Shy, however you say that show. That's funny, Pair Finds. That's funny. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, I forgot how we got the water break going, but I think somebody recommended it. But that's been a fantastic idea. Oh yeah, second water break. Let's get second water break in. Big cheers. Eee. Appreciate you, Jane. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's my mom's name too. Thank you for coming on, Jane. I had an executive coach ask me once, what are the barriers? Right. So let me make a quick point about those coaches. So not to rain on anybody's parade, but a lot of those coaches, who sell courses where they're like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to get things done. They don't understand that if you have ADHD, you know what you have to get done. Like you know what you need to do. You know how to do it. You just can't do it. So these coaches who like put out courses, I mean, now maybe some of them, are good, but if they don't understand like what's causing you to not do the thing, then I don't see how they're gonna help you um solve it. In fact, for me, if I'm talking to a coach and I'm telling them that I can't get my things done, and they're like, okay, I'm just gonna help you do it, then it's not helping me out. It turns into a PDA thing where it becomes more and more demands placed on me because they don't understand why I can't get the thing done. But that's not for every. I'm sure there's some coaches out there who have their own system. But if the coach doesn't understand why, like you can't get things done, I think it'd be pretty difficult for them to know, like like how to help. That's my thoughts. Just my thoughts. Right. You have all the self awareness, but it's the doing part that's difficult. I'm back. Had to give my fiance some meds. We're both chronically ill, and he struggles with psoriasis care. See, it's good in that he has you around, and I think when you have people who have your back in this capacity, I mean, what can't you do? You're virtually undefeated because they understand you and you understand them. So that's a nice combo. That's a real good combo. Task centered approach for the win. Little tasks at a time to get things done, although still can't start the task. Right, right, Melanie. But I do agree with you. I think that's why the hardest part is starting. So you may have to trick yourself into just starting it and then saying that I'm going to stop in 5 minutes. And then once you have the momentum, you can go. And it gets draining to have to remind yourself this every single day. But that's how it's how your brain works. On TikTok, let's see what TikTok is saying. Oh, Victoria, thank you very much. The noble black stress says underwire shirt. Uh, Gina, what's up? What's up, Gina? All right, let me see where are we at with time. All right, we're close to midnight. We'll go on. Yeah, we'll go on TikTok shortly. while I go play NCAA. Because I want to keep the tradition alive with the live and then the after party. Life coaches. Libby, you said it. I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it because I don't want to, rain on anybody's parade or just, destroy somebody's business. But, um, I mean, at the very least, if somebody's gonna be a life coach, if they have some type of lived experience with that thing, I think they can have a good business. But sometimes people see that, oh, if I put up a fancy website and a Shopify, you know, um, embedded to my site, I can make money by selling courses. But at the very least, because I don't think a life coach has to have like a medical background, but if the life coach has at least been through what they're trying to get people through, then not only can you trust them more, but I think that like that's somebody that is worth giving a shot to. It doesn't mean that'll work, but it's worth giving a shot to because they've been through what you're currently going through. Right? Yeah, I was right. Amazing Prime deals for Halo Light. All right, I gotta get that, and I'm gonna have to get a light that can go on a Sony camera. We will fix this, and the cool thing about all this is we're gonna look at this live stream in a year, and then compare it to like we're gonna compare 2025 to 2024, and we're gonna have good lighting. It's gonna be bright, so I'm excited to see myself get better with all of this stuff. Let me see. Life coaches are a scammer. I have to figure out TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is not difficult, but I mean you can literally just get on the live stream, and I'll be on TikTok in like 10 minutes. When are you getting mom suffering Aussie so she isn't lonely without Zosha Tea? Uh I don't know. I gotta see. I gotta see because Zoe's already a handful for my people over here. I don't know if we need a second dog, but I mean, in my mind, sometimes I have moments where I feel like I can get two more dogs, and then I wake up, I'm like, no, I just didn't have sleep the day before. Shasti. But I think like a very small dog can be what could be helpful for my family, like a super small dog, um, or maybe even a cat. Honestly, I've been thinking about a cat. Not for me, I don't like cats, but um, as a companion, because cats be jumping everywhere. And you don't have to give cats too much attention. So I'm thinking, oh, to keep with her. Yeah, I still think a cat. Maybe a cat would be helpful. Ms. Lincoln, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And do we really see? So, so Ryan, how old are you? You didn't say how old you were. But look, I've seen life coaches who are 21 years old. I've seen a 21-year-old life coach, talking about everything that they've been through. And I'm not saying that you can't go through a lot at 21, but to be a life coach at 21, I'm like, hmm, hmm. 49. Okay, all right. Yeah, yeah. So 49 years is definitely enough. Uh, if you're 49, like if you pass 40, yeah, you can be a life coach in your 30s, I'm sure, but 49 for sure. I think you've lived enough life. All right, so Savage, you're on TikTok now. See, it wasn't that difficult. Cats can be great friends. I think so. My cat definitely wants a lot of attention. Right, but at least with the cat, you don't have to keep like feeding it pounds or full. Everyone should be fostering if you have a yard. Yeah, yeah, but you gotta know how to take care of these animals too, so that way you're not neglecting them. Yeah, 21-year-old lab. Sure. HS Miller, what's up? What's up? What's up? My Gus in the house. I'm trained to be a rehab counselor. I'm RDHE, so I'm a big advocate for disabilities and everything. That's awesome. And I'm going to an event next week in LA. It has to do with it's a Paramount event, a poker event. I don't know how to play poker, but I'm going to it, and we're rocking the red carpet to raise money for. I forgot the disabilities, but I'm very interested in seeing what it is. I probably should have, read it more thoroughly so I could recall it and tell you all what it is. But being able to advocate for all disabilities is a privilege. Take care, Leilani. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm about to get off this and go actually on TikTok. What I love about cats is they require no attention unless they request attention. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I'm a life coach under 40. Renew energy. There's nothing wrong with that. I think you're older than 21, so you'll be okay. Also, I'm a big advocate. Some cats are not cuddly. Yeah, some aren't. Some aren't. Really want to say neuro linguistic. Okay. Yeah, it make more sense. Right, right. You can be a therapist in your, because I graduated when I was 26, but I mean I'm still learning about life now. Yeah, I've never made it to the masters. I have to, you know. Have you ever gone to the masters before? Yeah, I've never made it to the masters, so I need to check out the masters. But what's Haven of the Frog Hollow? Yeah, on Broad Street. That's the best. They have the best chicken in Augusta. There's some. Yeah, no, Frog Hollow. I mean, this is 2017 when I went. Yeah, yeah, I do. Yeah, so HS Mill saying, yeah, Frog Hollow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a little bar. They have the best chicken in all of Augusta. So for those of y'all who are going to the Masters next year, or if in Augusta, the Frog Hollow. Um, yes. So Crystal, I'm gonna uh Crystal, come on TikTok and I'll answer this question because this laptop is about to die, and I'm having to twist my back like this. And the laptop is about to die. So I will be on TikTok in like 5 minutes while I'm playing my brother in NCAA, and then I already took my Advil PM, so I'll probably be sleeping in like 35 minutes. So I'm about to get on TikTok, and I'm about to get on TikTok fully and give you all my full undivided attention and um, prepare for bed. So for everybody who tuned in, thank you so much for coming to the live stream. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate you all, and I will work on the lighting too. I'll figure out how to get the lighting better, not only here but also for my West Coast setup. So for half of y'all, I'll see y'all on TikTok, and the other half I will see y'all at least by next week. Peace. Take care.